Welcome to Whether or Not and to What Degree podcast. I am First Alert Chief Meteorologist Kendra Kent, and I have a very special guest with me today, Tori Carmen.
Yes, Kendra, we've been wanting to do this for like 4 years.
We have. And I'm just going to preface this. We're really not going to talk about weather much today.
Sorry,
we'll
guys.
make just a little bit, but here and there. No, and I've promised Tori I'm going to do my best not to cry much during this podcast, but this is something that I think, how long ago was it? 7 or 8 months ago. Mm-hmm. It was very hard to envision sitting down and doing this. It was a very scary time for all of us. So we wanted to start by talking about something that many of you know about already. And, we talk about this too. I'd be at Walmart or I'd be at Kohl's or any of these places. People would come up to me and just be like, oh, how is Tori? How is she doing? People love you so much in our community. And I think that when you went out, people maybe didn't realize at first what got bits and pieces of your story. That's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast today, is so Tori can tell her story a little bit. So, I mean, really the best way probably is just to start at the beginning and how this all happened. And of course, I was out of the country when this all happened too.
Oh my gosh.
I remember.
Were you in Mexico?
I was in Mexico. Mm-hmm.
You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because I had my seizure at the end of February.
Right.
It's February 28th. It was a Friday overnight. And I hadn't been feeling great that week. So you were out that week.
Yeah, I think I'd left
Right?
on that Thursday because it was right at the beginning of when we got there. And I remember we started hearing from Jeremy and everything that was happening.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was, this year in general has been bananas in so many different ways. And hey, we're almost to November. So
Crazy.
we're almost there.
We are so close.
We're almost at the end of 2025. But first and foremost, it's an honor to be on the podcast.
So happy to have you.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And yeah, it goes back to February. And
you mentioned you weren't feeling like yourself leading up to
I
when
wasn't
this happened.
feeling great. I actually had been on a ski trip the weekend prior with a group of friends, not far, North Carolina. We went to Mars Hill. And I hadn't skied since high school. Yeah.
You sent us some really funny pictures of you like kind of falling when you were trying to ski. And it was this sweet, because I would do the same thing right now.
It was bad. It was bad. I went from skiing to trying then to snowboard for the first time ever, but I actually appreciated the snowboarding more because I could just scoot down on my butt.
Yeah.
Rather than the skiing, I took quite a tumble, and I actually landed on my head. I was wearing a helmet. I had all the proper gear on, but when I fell, I felt really hard on the left side. And so I remember kind of being shaken up and getting a headache and something, I've been prone to migraines. I mean, really ever since I started working here 6 years ago, there would be times where I'd get really bad migraines and have to leave, especially the lights in our studio are really bright. And anyone who suffers from migraines, you know how difficult it can be to just get through your day. So to preface that, I had migraines to begin with. My mom gets them, some of my cousins get them. I just always thought it was something that ran in our family.
Right.
So, you deal with it, you have some medicine, okay, we take it. But back to that weekend before in February skiing, I just kind of noticed, I was like, okay, bad tumble, I know I'm gonna be sore, I'm gonna have a headache and just not feel great. Well, that kept lingering. And into the work week, I was fine. And then I would go on dinner break, come back to work, and by 9 o'clock, getting ready for the 10 o'clock news, I would get the chills. So my body was acting very strange, and getting through the show was very difficult. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. I think I left early one night, and then I finally took a day off on Thursday, and I went to Minute Clinic. They tested me for RSV, COVID, flu, all that stuff, negative all around the board. They're like, you know what, you might just have some weird virus. They're like, just rest, get some sleep, all that. Okay. So that night, I remember going to bed, getting ready for bed, and my fiance at the time, he's like, all right, we just got to get you some good sleep. We're gonna figure this out. Let's go to bed. My mom and I are very close, and she's like, oh my gosh, it could be this, this, and this. We like to Google and play doctor, but she actually said it could be meningitis. just with all the signs I was presenting. And I was like, there's no way meningitis, no way. But, you know, scary to kind of think about.
Yeah.
Well, it was that night. I woke up in the middle of the night screaming in pain. I was in bed, thankfully. My whole right side of my body locked up, and it felt like a Charlie horse. And I just started screaming. And Jeremy woke up. He works in law enforcement, so thankfully he's very calm in those situations, and he knows what to do. That's another blessing.
Thank God for him.
Truly. And so he tried to calm me down. I was screaming, and then all of a sudden I couldn't scream anymore. I remember vividly that moment. My ears were ringing. I couldn't scream, and I went into like a black.
Like you were almost paralyzed, or
Yes.
you just couldn't control anything.
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
You go into this like black hole, it felt like, and that was it. I thought I was dying, and I don't remember anything then. And then I woke up. And
That
Jeremy
was in the hospital?
This
you woke
wasn't.
up?
No, this was at our house.
Okay.
This was home.
Okay.
And so I woke up in bed, and Jeremy was on his phone with EMS, trying to guide them to where we live. And I was so oblivious. I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, "You know, baby, you just passed out. You're gonna be okay. You know, help is coming." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I tried to get up because I had to go to the bathroom, and I fell out of bed because my whole right side wasn't working. Which that comes into play in a moment. So he helped me get to the bathroom. I was in my pajamas. I was just very out of it. And then EMS came in with, you know, there were 2 deputies, EMS workers. They had the gurney and
God,
everything.
that must have been surreal.
And I didn't understand. And I just kind of went along with like what I needed to do and just listened to Jeremy because I trusted him. And we took a blanket from home. We have 2 dogs, and they were thankfully in another room with the door closed.
Yeah, Max would not have handled
No.
all this very well.
No, our dogs are very protective of
Yeah.
us, and they knew they weren't even barking. They just they were like, okay.
Yeah.
So we got out. We went. I was in the ambulance. Jeremy had to follow. I just went along with what they told me to do as best I could. I was very foggy in and out. We went to Prisma, downtown Greenville. We don't live too far from there, thankfully. And then I've never been in that situation before.
Right.
You know, and you really just kind of are at the mercy of the people taking care of you.
Right.
And it's so scary. You just go with the flow, though.
Well, and
You have to.
especially the fact that you essentially blacked out and didn't even really remember probably the worst part of it when you had the seizure, right? I mean, like you were, yeah.
And
thank
that's
goodness.
something Jeremy still can't talk about. It's very
Yeah.
hard for him to talk about because he thought the worst as well. And, you know, thankfully everything was okay. But then we were in the hospital overnight, and the doctor thought it could be meningitis, which made us kind of laugh.
That your mom's
Because that's what my
diagnosis.
my mom was like, was she right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We were thinking about that, but it was just the different signs and symptoms. But they're like, you know what? Before we do a spinal tap, we're going to do a CT scan and just make sure everything's okay. Okay, so CT scan on my head. We go in, we do that. We're waiting. They're giving me fluids and stuff. Then you have 2 doctors come in. One I didn't recognize, so that was a little strange. And I will say Prisma did a fantastic job with all the care we received that night and that morning. And they told us, you have a mass in your brain. And our hearts sank. That was never something I ever would have thought. And so they explained it a little more. They're like, we need to do an MRI and try to get more information. And so we were just in shock. And then I remember Jeremy and I looked at each other, and we're in the middle of wedding planning, by the way.
Right.
We were supposed to, our original wedding date was coming up next weekend.
It was gonna be
November.
right after Halloween, I
yeah,
remember.
November
Yeah.
2nd. Yep. And we looked at each other and we're like, we need to get married. Whatever's going on, we're doing this. And I was like, wow, I have a real one right here. This man is amazing. And then we started making phone calls and sending messages. I remember I was like, Jake, can you call my parents? Can you text Kendra and Justin or work and just let some people know what's going on. And so he was doing that while we were processing everything. And so basically, the mass was found right on top of my head, the left side, motor cortex region. So that explains why my whole right side froze up.
Yeah.
Because opposite side controls. And motor cortex obviously is all your motor function. So I remember I had weakness in my hand, then in my leg. It came back within a day or two. And then it was just, okay, what's next? What do we have to do? And so we had a consultation with Prisma with a neurologist who was like, this is what we would recommend. We would do a craniotomy, remove, this is a meningioma, at least what it looks like, which through research we figured out it's a tumor that grows in your meninges. So it's the lining of your brain. So it's not actually inside your brain.
Right.
Which
And that's
was
what
good.
made everyone very hopeful.
Yes.
And, not that this was a great situation, but of all the things that could be growing there, it was in a spot, I remember you telling me that, to try to calm me down
Yeah.
when we were, out of the country. And I feel like after a few days, it was determined that you had a diagnosis where you had a plan. The chances of it being anything invasive or cancerous were very low.
Yeah.
At least that's what we
That's what
thought
we
at
thought
the time.
And there's not a lot out there about meningiomas, even though they are very common. They're usually common in women, older women.
Hormonally driven, usually,
Hormonally
right?
driven. Yeah, they still don't have a ton of answers on it. And I know that multiple people that I've spoken to, I think everyone's frustrated that there isn't more known about them. If
I mean,
they
it was
are
the first time I'd heard
the
about it.
most common out there. But mine was perfect. It was like a perfect round oval right on top, which was a great location for a craniotomy. So craniotomy is basically them cutting open your skull, removing it, and then sewing you back up. So we had a great experience with Prisma. My parents are in Chicago. That's where I grew up. And we have some different connections at big hospitals up there. So we got a second opinion at Northwestern and spoke with a phenomenal surgeon, with Dr. Chandler, who was recommended to us by family. So we decided to go with Northwestern. And he had the same exact outlook. Craniotomy, it looks like it's textbook. We should have you scheduled. We're going to get this done. Okay, great. Surgery was April 1st. So I'll fast forward to that. We road tripped it up to Chicago, brought the dogs. A big blessing out of all of this is I got to be with my parents.
I was going to say, that was one of the best parts about you getting this done at Northwestern.
Yeah.
You could be in your childhood home.
Yeah, where I grew up.
I mean, a lot of comfort in that, at least. And Jeremy was able to be with you a good bit up there. He went back and forth, which I know was not easy, but
he did. And his employer was fantastic. And he got to get to know my parents very well.
Oh, I
and
bet.
They same. We were all in our childhood home and, with 3 dogs running around. But that was so comforting to have my aunts and uncles, my cousins around. That's where I grew up. And that was really special. Like that was a bright light out of all of this. Right. And so we went up there, had like a last hurrah before surgery. Got married officially before surgery. So that was really special to know that we were in this for the long haul and that, my partner, my now husband, was willing to go through all of this with me, not knowing the outcome. So that's amazing. Yeah. And we are planning some sort of fun celebration, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Sometime next year.
You deserve to be celebrated.
Right? We're going to do it. But yeah, surgery, scary, scary, scary situation. Yeah. When you hear your brain is going to be cut open, but you do it.
Yeah, and I remember you would send us pictures and updates of, because it was a big scar.
A big scar. It was like a headband from one end all the way to the other. But they did a fantastic job. Yeah. The scar was so minimal. You should see it now. You can hardly even see it. They hardly shaved. They were just wonderful. So surgery was about 4 hours. My parents were there. Jeremy was there. I stayed at the hospital for 2 nights, which are always so hard.
Yeah.
You don't realize how difficult that is. But I was up and walking with a walker, and then my surgeon was like, no walker, like, come on, you got this. And we did a really, they pushed me. Because they're like, you're young, you're healthy, you can do this. So I'm glad they pushed me. The hardest part was then going home after the hospital, there were a couple nights that were pretty rough. It felt like I had this like watery feeling in my head when I would move, and that was just the draining.
Yeah.
There were a couple moments where I thought I was having a panic attack just because I was scared. My hair was still like matted with yuck and blood and things.
I remember you said your first full shower and getting to wash your hair was just the best feeling.
It was the best thing, but it took a while.
Yeah.
And my body, again, after surgery, my whole right side was weak once again. So it took me probably a good week to feel a little bit more normal. Like writing even, I notice still to this day, it's still not the best.
Yeah.
But it's getting there.
Right.
So the rule of thumb is after your surgery, I had staples all over my head. 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks, the staples come out. I was like, okay, all right. So mid-April, we're going to come back to Greenville. In May, I'm going to get back to work. You know, things are going to be good. Let's do this. And so we go to Northwestern for our first follow-up to get the staples removed. And we do all the typical check-ins. How's your strength? Okay, let's take out the staples. Okay, handled that. And then my surgeon comes in, which we thought this was going to be an hour appointment. And he's like, you know what? We had some interesting news come back with your pathology of your tumor. And it actually turned out to be a grade 3 anaplastic tumor. And, you know, in layman's terms, I'm like, we're all kind of, it was my mom, Jeremy, and myself at this appointment. And we're like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, well, it's aggressive and it's malignant, which means it's cancerous. And that was not what we were expecting, right?
That's not typical of
No.
meningiomas. I feel like I can never say that right.
You got it.
Oh, good. Okay. But yeah, we were talking about that before we even started taping, is that's what is so crazy about this, is that it was such a small percentage chance that it was going to be something like that, that as soon as you told us here in Greenville that your surgery was successful, and even you were saying, you know, we have, you know, a few tests, but it's all mostly formality. So I was telling people like, oh, everything went great and she's great, and which was true. You had such a good outlook. Yeah. And then I'll never forget, and I'll let you continue your story, but I'll never forget sitting with Justin and getting that news.
Yeah. I remember I called you guys, I think like a day later, because I think our appointment was like on a Tuesday. It was during the week. And
well, I knew something was up because you hadn't talked to us much since the appointment, and we were like, okay, I'm sure everything's fine. She's just busy. Like we were just convincing ourselves. And then when you said, I'd like to speak with both of you together, we were both like, oh gosh.
I know, and that's that was so hard in that room. You know, my mom had a really hard time. Jeremy was really strong. I tried to be strong. I was in shock.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I didn't really have any reaction to it. I was just trying to be positive. Because the good news was the tumor was removed.
Right.
So that in theory, the cancer was out.
But yeah, was there any residual? That was going to be the big question.
Yeah,
right?
because again, unfortunately, when you have a brain tumor, they can't tell how long it's been there.
Yeah.
And we'll never know that.
Isn't that, I mean, I'm sure that's something you think about all the time.
Yeah.
Like how long you walked around living life with that in your head.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, you probably think back to a really horrible headache you had 3 years ago, and you're like, wow, you know. But again, people get migraines. I get headaches, you know, certain times a month. I always just get lots and lots of headaches. You know, is that enough of a reason to go get a CT? It's hard to know, but you're a big advocate of if things aren't feeling right, especially like that week before. Oh yeah. You just need to go and get everything looked at.
You need to, and I've spoken to people who were having like hearing loss or vision loss, and they're like, what do I do? What are your symptoms? Or like, can this be? And I'm like, absolutely, go to your doctor. Like, get a CT, get an MRI. And I know they're expensive, but do it because you need to know. Yeah. And they're becoming more prevalent, which is the scary part.
It is scary.
And so that day at the doctor, after meeting with the surgeon and getting the staples out, they're like, okay, we're going to refer you. You're going to meet with the neuro-oncologist next. Then you're going to go meet with the neuroradiologist. And I was like, okay, so what we thought was a 1-hour appointment turned into a 4-hour appointment, meeting with other experts and talking about what do we need to do. And so they're like, we can do fractionated radiation, we can do gamma knife radiation, and you're like, what does this mean?
Right.
So you're given all of this information, and they try to break it down for you, but at the end of the day, they're like, you need to get this done. Like with your age, everything, like you need to get something done in order to make sure this doesn't come back and we get everything out. So we knew we had to take those steps forward. We just needed to digest the information first. And yeah, we got home that day. My dad left. I don't think he went to football. He coaches football, high school football back in Chicago, and I think they were doing like spring, stuff. And my mom texted him. He didn't go that day, so he was waiting at home for us. And we all just had we didn't really know what to say or what to do, how to act, and just hug each other and love on each other. And I couldn't sleep that night. I think I had a good cry with Jeremy in bed, and like just not knowing what was next.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Well, and the true shock of it. I mean, what a gut punch to go into a doctor's office like that. And again, not through no fault of their own. They were going with the stats and what they knew about
what they
mangiomas.
saw. They even saw it. And
But
like,
to walk in and just be so caught off guard. I mean, that alone would be enough to just rattle you for days. So.
For days. I couldn't sleep. I woke up really early and tried to read a book to take my mind off things. And then we started making those phone calls. I texted you and Justin, hey, can we talk?
Yeah.
Some of my best friends here, same thing. I got them on like a group call.
Yeah.
And then with work too, with our management, spoke to them, and we were like, we don't know what's going to happen, but these are our options, and we're going to figure it out. So work was amazing. You guys were so supportive, and the community so incredible. And some of our friends actually put on a little advocacy walk at the end of April, which was amazing because we did one in Chicago on the same day.
Yes.
And it was a huge surprise to Jeremy and I and my family that you were doing it in Greenville. So that was really cool and so special. And I'm like, I wish we could have been there, but it meant so much to us. And so we decided to do gamma knife radiation. So that was not going to be able to happen until the end of May. Yeah. So our trip extended. And in the meantime, I was trying to stay as healthy as I could, active, even though my energy was low.
Taking your walks.
Taking my walks, yes, and just enjoying that time and getting right, like mentally.
Yes.
And diving into our faith. I think that was a time for reflection on many levels.
I was so frustrated that you couldn't get an appointment faster.
I know.
But at the same time, it was probably a really good thing to have that time, but to really let it all sink in and have that meditative week. I guess there were a few weeks there
to try to process
to get ready.
Everything.
Yeah, because I mean that's just it was a lot.
So we had a PET scan too, and thankfully that came back pretty clear. It was just of the brain. So that would show if there are any rogue cancer cells, basically. So
right,
because
it's going through and kind of. Remind me what a PET scan is again. They inject something into you and it kind of goes through,
yeah, it's
right?
kind of like when you go do an MRI with contrast too, right? You could see things clearer, but the PET scan, if you had any sort of cancer, it would light up and it would look really bad. So like a Christmas tree. Good. So thankfully, again, it wasn't my entire body, just my brain, but things looked good. Regardless, they still wanted to move forward with radiation, and we did gamma knife, which is very local, it's a smaller area than doing fractionated, which is more intense. Initially they wanted that, but we decided to go with the medium option, which was a 4-hour.
Especially after the PET scan results. I feel like that made your decision a little easier for that.
So that was a 4-hour procedure of straight radiation. I got a little break in the middle of it. It was not fun, but at least it was one and done.
Yeah.
And then I lost the hair. I was May 30th, I got that done, got back to Greenville the next weekend, got back to slowly coming into the real world again, coming back to work. Hair hadn't started going yet until I think it was mid-June, and then July was the worst, where it was really the whole top of my head. But now you should see it. It's growing back. This is a topper.
Yeah.
I wish my hair looks this good all the time, but it's growing in and it's coming back, and we're so thankful for that.
I'm just always amazed. It looks just like your hair. It matches up with your
They did a
natural hair
fantastic
so
job.
well.
My mom found that one too. Hair Bella Salon in Greenville.
Oh, shout
Clay did amazing
Yes.
matching it and finding it for us and really helping us.
Well, I feel like that's something that's not talked about as much is life after something like what you went through, because that's something that, you know, I've been working with you, so I've been experiencing it alongside you about what you've dealt with, because after everything, it takes a long time to get back to normal, and whatever normal ends up being for you, hopefully you're going to get back to 100% of what you once were, but you still are on a medication that makes you kind of tired, right?
Yeah.
You have the lingering, you had the hair loss, but thankfully, again, that part, that storm has passed. That's probably the only weather reference we'll make.
There we
but
go.
it has passed. There we go. So now we can legitimately call it this. But I remember that when you were going through that, but then the when you sent Justin and me the top of head selfie, which you coined at this point.
Yeah.
But when you had the little baby hairs coming
Baby
in, and we
hairs.
knew that you turned the corner and it was coming back. So
That was a big deal. That was a big deal for me because and especially as a woman, that was very difficult. I
Yeah.
remember just clumps coming out, and I know a lot of women deal with it when, with pregnancy and different things.
we were able to relate to that because when I had the twins, my hormone levels dropped so much that I lost about 2/3 of my hair volume. However, it wasn't all in one spot.
Right.
That was the one thing that saved me. I could style it
And you
just
have such
right.
nice thick hair, yeah.
Oh, thank goodness I had so much to start with.
Yeah.
That was the only way that
You
it all
got
worked out.
lucky. I know.
But the thing that I just wanted to mention and to talk about is the fact that what you're going through, you used to do the 4, the 5, 10, and 11. That was the original. Now you're doing 4 and 5. You don't do 10 and 11 right now.
No.
And then we have some very loyal 10 o'clock viewers that have come up to me and been like, "When's Tori coming back to work?" I'm like, "She's already there. You just gotta find her at a different time."
Yeah.
But it's getting back to normalcy is a lot. And you've done an amazing job of it. But that's the reason that, many have asked me why am I not seeing Tori here or there? Well, it's because by 7 p.m. or 6 o'clock when you're done, you're exhausted. I mean, you've told me, and it's gotten better, I know. But you mentioned that it is a full, once you've gone through the day, your body basically tells you like at sundown, you've been going to bed real early for a night sider.
It's great. I'm getting used to this. I'm like, all right, I'm texting you guys. I'm like, all right, bedtime. It's 9:30. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is so different. I'd be getting ready for the show normally. But yeah, you're right. It is the physical and the mental.
Yeah.
After going through a cancer diagnosis, a surgery, a treatment, it is a lot to deal with. And I am such a person who is a go-getter.
Yeah.
I'm very type A in certain ways, and you want to get back to yourself. I mean, you could find me usually in the gym 5 days a week.
Yep.
I haven't been able to work out and lift weights like that since before I had the seizure, and that's been driving me crazy. But we're going on our vest walks.
Yes.
So we got the 12-pound vest. We're walking. That is working for now. I just don't have energy for it.
Right.
I'm on a anti-seizure medicine that they actually increased the dosage after surgery, and they've lowered it a little bit, but I'm going to be on it at least through the year anniversary of the seizure.
Yeah.
And that's part of the healing
medicine
process.
that makes you kind of
It makes you very tired, and a lot of people who have epilepsy or suffer from seizures, they're most likely on that, and they understand. It makes you extremely tired, and it's very difficult to get through your day to day. And so even having conversations with people like I used to, I would be exhausted, and I still am. And so I'm limiting certain things. Anchoring 4 and 5 has been great, but I'm exhausted. I get home, I try to go for a walk, eat dinner, and I'm in bed. And I miss you guys at night. And
miss you too,
we're going to see what happens moving forward, but I'm just thankful to be where I'm at right now and hoping to help other people.
Yeah.
in the future, and just and be an advocate for listen to your body. It can happen to anybody.
Well, that's why I'm glad you got to tell the full story today. Hopefully someone listening it's resonating with, even if maybe you've gone through it, or maybe you're having some strange symptoms, and maybe this will encourage folks to get it checked out.
Right.
But I also think that you're a big advocate for therapy. You always have been, but especially coming back and coping with the fact that you can't work out, because working out kind of kept us sane. I mean, it still does for me, and you not being able to do it as much, and that was such a big part of your identity. And again, not being able to do the shows you used to do here. I know you said you've been going to therapy, helping with not only the physical recuperation, but the mental. Yeah,
that has been huge. And I went to therapy before all of this. I took some time off from it, but getting back into it has been great. And so thankful for the counselor I see, and he's faith-based and just really helps me talk through some things. And I know people are sometimes afraid or scared to ask for help, but there's a lot of help out there, and it's available. And there's so many great resources for that, just to talk through things, whatever you're struggling with. You know, huge proponent of therapy, whatever your therapy looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, everyone has different forms of that. So being able to balance that, have someone to talk to, going on walks, listening to music, watching the sunset. Like, these are all things that I don't take for granted anymore.
Absolutely.
And it's just given me a whole new outlook and perspective on life, and enjoying time with my husband, with our dogs, with my friends and family, and being able to come back to work and share stories that are really meaningful and important and impactful. It just, it does my heart so good.
I bet it does. And I love we've talked about it before, how you're what's the best way to put it? I don't want to use a bad word. You don't take you're very no nonsense now. You're not going to put up, you will speak your mind, and you're not going to put up with any bleep.
No bleeps. Yeah, no, you're right.
I love it. Because again, I'll come to you with my issues. You'll be like, girl, you got to do this. And I'm like, ooh, you're right. Because you know what? Like when you have an experience where you aren't sure what's going to happen with your life, the little stuff, the little nagging things at work aren't as big anymore. And you want to just nip things in the bud and tackle things.
And you know, we're more pleasers.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, Yeah. Nope.
So you're teaching me your ways.
Not happening. I think that's good. Yeah. You need a little bit of that in you. I know you have it there. Yeah. It's just putting that wall down. Absolutely. We're not going to lose our kind, innate personalities, but never. I do love that side of you now, that you're just not going to take any bleep from anybody. We're taking no bleeps. Nope. Post craniotomy, all of brain cancer, we're taking no bleeps, Kendra. Remember that.
I know it. Well, I was just alerted that we reached over the 30-minute mark, which might be a record for whether or not and to what degree. So I'm really excited. So we're going to move on to our next segment, which was going to be like a little lightning round of questions for each other. Okay. Unless there's anything else you'd like to just say to cap off your journey. But I'm just so glad you could talk about the pre, the middle, and the recovery process.
Yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell. And giving a little bit more background into what happened, when we were in Chicago then, and then coming back to Greenville and getting back to work with you guys. I really couldn't have done any of this without y'all. Yeah. And you guys are the best. No. We love you.
She's my work bestie, if you haven't figured that out by now. So, that's right. Yes. No, it was very hard to be here without her. For how many months was it that you were gone? 3 total months that we didn't have Tori here. And again, I love my work family here, but you're at the heart of it. So
same.
Anyway, look at us. We did great. I think we teared up like 3 or 4 times.
We got through it.
But no, we've worked together for 6 years now, right?
Crazy, yeah.
From Hurricane Dorian.
That was the first one, right when I came in. I was like, what is happening? Hurricanes. That was a shock to my system.
And your co-anchor at the time, Cody, had a vacation.
We had a vacation right when Dorian started.
And so it was all on her, and you did a great job.
Oh, you taught me a lot.
Well, I tried at our radar checks. That's how we got through it.
Radar check.
People were like, what are they talking about? But anyway, yes, we've developed a very close relationship. We've been through a lot.
A lot of late nights.
A lot of late nights. And I was going to say, I'll start the lightning round questions.
All right,
and
you
then
go
you
for
can
it.
go, we'll go back and forth real quick, and
Okay,
I promise.
and we'll wrap.
I'm looking at the time. We'll wrap in about 3 or 4 minutes.
We got it.
So, first memory that comes to mind of us in one of our late nights. Can you think of?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go.
Okay, so automatically, there's been a lot of them, but I automatically think of when we were watching the College World Series.
Yes, that's mine. Go, please tell. Please give some
my gosh.
background.
Okay, so was this, I don't know how many years ago this was.
It was a lot. I don't know. It was probably 20.
Maybe
2020,
2022,
2022.
2021.
But anyway, Mississippi
Mississippi
Yes,
State, your alma
they're my alma
mater.
mater.
And we were watching, it was on Fox because we were on late.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting in the weather center and that TV had the game on it. And the names of the players were all like very
Mississippi.
very Mississippi.
Weren't there like 14 Tanners? Is that Tanner?
It was like
the name?
Tanner Hunt and like Tanner Smith and like
And it just tickled us so much. I mean, when you're really tired, it just everything
we were
makes you
delirious.
laugh.
But yeah, I remember we were just giggling.
I don't even remember if it
And-
was on Fox because I don't know if we carry the College World Series.
I swear
But
we were on late.
I think we were on late for another reason, and I just had it on,
'cause
or
it
we
was
may have just been
Mississippi.
doing the normal 10 and watching it. But either way, yes, that's one of my favorite. Another one of my favorites is when the Atlanta Braves were playing the World Series on Fox,
Yeah.
and we covered a lot of that together. I don't remember a lot of specifics, but I remember it was very
We
exciting.
came in late for that. That was a fun one. And then I don't know if you remember this. It was a blooper with Aaron Cheslock,
We had a lot of those. So you'll have to clarify.
our former sports director.
Yes. Still a good friend
It was
of ours.
it was a kicker when we had the kickers at 11, and it was the pig one.
I'm trying to remember
You were reading the super. There's a lot of times when our mics come up before the video, like. Even when our directors are like, "All right, you got 5 seconds," we're still talking.
And I whispered it. What
You
was it? What
whispered
did I
like
whisper?
pig attack.
I couldn't believe.
Like pig attack.
I was
And
like,
we started losing it, and it had to
Yeah.
do with a runaway pig, and we couldn't get through it.
Nope, we couldn't.
We were just laughing our butts off.
Those nightcaps, as we call them. I think we call
Nightcaps.
them trending now or something at this. But
Those are
anyway,
good old
we used to love them.
nightcaps.
Okay, what's your question for me? We ended up going off the
Okay,
rails on that one.
so mine were the ones I was thinking of. Okay, we both like Taylor Swift.
yes.
So I was gonna go like if you could pick a favorite Taylor Swift song, an album.
Okay. Oh gosh.
I know that's tough.
All right. Well, I'm just going to do it really quick because if I sit and overthink it, it'll be too hard. So, favorite album, I think Reputation still.
Okay.
It's just, yeah. And then my favorite song, I love the new album a lot, and there's a chance one of them could be on this new album, but You Are in Love. And it was a bonus track from 1989,
89.
a deep cut.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That song is a really beautiful song. I didn't think of that one.
She wrote it with the guy from the Bleachers, so it kind of has that Bleachers-y
Antonoff,
sound. Now, how
right?
about you?
Yeah. I would say Folklore for my album.
Oh yes, of course. That one grew on me, but you were so all about it at the time.
That was like during
pandemic stuff.
Yeah, pandemic era
All
of
the
like
feels.
being sad and
Yes.
crying all the time. You know, it's very cathartic. And then my favorite song is probably on that album as well.
Is it My Tears
I'd say
Ricochet?
My Tears Ricochet, or well, Marjorie's on Evermore.
Okay.
But similar vibes. I also really love New Year's Day on Reputation.
Yeah, New Year's
I like
Day
the
is so
slower
good.
Taylor Swift songs that are just all about your feels.
Yeah,
So.
I always tear up when I hear that one. I forget what the line is in it, but anyway. Okay, we are so over time that I don't know if our
One more.
Okay, you had some plans, so you think of one more.
Oh,
so I like your questions.
Mine were like, okay, would you rather watch a movie or like a TV series?
Ooh.
Because I know we love to talk about movies and
TV series lately. How about you?
Really? I'm more of a movie gal.
Okay.
For sure.
TV series is a lot of commitment, though. But I'm into the Gilded Age right now. I really love it.
I know, I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
You
it's a
talked about
period
it.
piece. It's kind of slow, but I am
Oh.
so.
Do they all have accents?
No, it's early America. It's like
Oh.
late 1800s. So like they all kind of have like that slight English accent because
bit.
obviously they came over from there, but they have anyway. It's really good.
Good.
There's
Okay.
some really good
I need
storylines
a
on
new
it.
series. And then okay, last one because I'm curious. Concert or like a live sporting event?
Oh, concert.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Same.
Okay.
Yeah, we're big music people. I mean, love sports, but I'd rather go to a concert. I think there's
know.
just more
More vibes
There's more
and-
vibes.
I
You know,
agree.
more memories too.
Even though it's been so long since I've been to like a college. You just went to a college football game
I
too.
did.
South
I went
Carolina,
to
OU.
Oklahoma, South Carolina. Really cool atmosphere there.
Yeah.
Different than Clemson,
Yeah.
and yeah, especially because South Carolina lost. They were not happy.
No, but the energy there is amazing.
Energy was great. Our assistant news director was there, and we had a lot of South Carolina fans
And you
here.
and it was a big milestone for you because that was a big day, and you got through it. I know you
Big
said you were
day.
exhausted.
Yeah.
But it was a neat thing to go do something like that would tire anybody out, but especially
Yeah.
when you
I
know.
was thankful to go because it was a day game. It ended up being a 12-hour day, but I did take some breaks out of the sun. We went
yeah.
and sat in the like patio area where it was covered with some shade, drinking a lot of water. It was very chill for a game day, but it was a long day, and I think that kind of disrupted my Sunday and then even the start of my work week. So I was like, I pushed it a little bit, but it was good to see where I can gauge my energy. Probably won't do another one for a while, but it was still fun.
I get that. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here, but I am so excited that we got the opportunity to do this.
Me
And
too.
please come back. We'll have more conversations
Heck
and
yes.
about all kinds of stuff. But I, and I don't want to get emotional, but you realize how important people are to you when you go through things like this. And I survived through our voice memos, and we still do it to this day. That's the fun part is that
No texting, voice memos.
yeah,
that's
it's easier because you can hear tone, and then we just go off the rails, and it turns into its own podcast.
Sure
but,
does.
But anyway, my heart is so happy to have you back. We love you so much. I love you, and hopefully we'll have much. Oh, there's our closing music. They're like they're gonna go on forever if we don't put some music on. And even the production staff is saying we love you, Tori
Love
Carmen.
you too. I
So,
know. Love
all
you.
right. Well, we will be back with another episode. Probably not as emotional as this one, but very happy to have Tori with us today.
Keeping it real. I know. Thanks, Kendra. Have a great night.